The bullets in this jar," he balanced the vessel between his thumb and forefinger, "were taken from the body of murdered Constable Choate." Standing tall, Detective Sergeant Jason Hingston scanned the audience, his eyes revealing the compassion that his trained voice disguised. The members of the Metropolitan Police History Society, largely male and mature in service, sat forward in their seats. Their faces were solemn as they hung on to the words of Hingston, the youngest society member, aged 32. Hingston continued, "This jar is one of over a dozen of its kind. You will see them later tonight in the Houndsditch Murders collection on display in the museum downstairs." A round of applause followed, and the chair of the History Society, a white-haired, retired chief superintendent named Finn Mannix, walked onto the stage. "Thank you, Jason, for a fascinating talk which has given us much to reflect upon. The bravery of the 3 City of London police officers who lost their lives and the 2 who suffered life-changing injuries must not be forgotten. A few months past the centenary anniversary adds great poignancy and is, of course, the reason why the City of London police have allowed us to use their premises this evening." Hingston nodded, smiled, and stepped down from the stage. Mannix turned to the audience. "Before I introduce our next speaker, I'm delighted and relieved to advise that the historian who will be showing us around the museum has finally arrived." "You told her this station is unrecognizable from its days as a Roman barracks," Hingston called to Mannix with a wide smile, a short distance from his seat within the audience. His brown eyes glinted. A few laughs and a boisterous cheer died down, allowing Mannix to continue. "Jason, you're athletic, and as you're on your feet, could you bring her up from reception?" "Sure," said Hingston. Mannix began to introduce the next talk. World War II was Hingston's favorite period, and so he sped out of the Wakefield mess to ensure a prompt return. 10 minutes later, Mannix received a call. The historian was still waiting in reception. Concerned by Hingston's absence, he went to investigate. Down the marble staircase Mannix hurried, past the enormous trophy case and the baby grand piano. His feet tapped increasingly faster on the stairs, and the police station felt quieter with each floor he descended. The May evening sunshine maintained a restful ambiance in the station. On the ground floor, off a dark, narrow corridor, Mannix reached the integral door labeled Museum. The door was ajar, and conservation lighting glowed through the crack. As he leant towards it to enter, he noticed his reflection in the glass pane, behind which a plethora of police helmet badges were displayed regimentally. A powerful floral scent made him stop and look over his shoulder. The corridor was still. He inhaled, but the fragrance had dissipated. Frowning, he pushed the door open. It did not make a sound. 2 eyeless mannequins in uniform stood guard aside the glass cabinets that were filled with equipment, clothing, medals, and criminal artifacts collected over a period of 180 years. Mannix breathed silently as his vision adjusted to the yellow lighting, reflective glass, and the multitude of faces that were photographically preserved behind it. Police officers, criminals, and the post-mortem images of the Houndsditch murder victims. He walked between the cabinets and saw the outline of a tall person slumped on the opposite side of the central display case. "Jason," Mannix called, and quickened his pace. Mannix crouched next to him. Hingston's eyes were staring straight ahead, focusing on nothing distinguishable. His downturned mouth was clamped into place by his clenched teeth, and his neck muscles were tense. His mid-brown hair was roughed up. Dried tears had left streaks down his slim cheeks, and his eyes were still moist. "Jason," repeated Mannix. Hingston blinked once. His head jolted toward Mannix like a mechanical toy springing into action. His brown eyes appeared alive again, and after giving a look of realization, concern flooded his face. He opened his mouth, then paused. I can't catch him. I can't, Hingston whispered. What's happened to you? Mannix muttered as he reached for his mobile phone and dialed.